A giant kick knocks the Niners out of the playoffs.
And the kick, look out, it's no good.
Well, another kicker's mistake sets up a rematch of one of the greatest Super Bowls ever.
So if you're the Patriots, you have to come in with a sense of revenge.
Now the Patriots look for revenge against the team that shattered their perfect season. The Giants fight to continue an improbable playoff run.
Touchdown.
Only one team will hoist football's greatest prize. Tonight, the stage is set. The showdown awaits.
Live from Indianapolis, a KCRA3 News Special, The Road to the Championship.
We're less than 24 hours away now from kickoff to the biggest football game of the year, and Indianapolis is ready. Winter has returned here, but it is perfect temperature inside as crews are putting the final touches onto the field.
And while outside it feels nothing like California, I can tell you that much. There has been a cold rain through much of the day. This is not the typical climate for a Super Bowl setting.
Good evening, I'm Chris Riva, live at Lucas Oil Stadium. Joining us tonight is Kelly McMullen and, of course, sports director and our Super Bowl insider, Del Rogers. And Del, less than 24 hours from kickoff now. How are players getting ready for the game?
I'll tell you what, I can only tell you how I got prepared before Super Bowl 23, and I went to bed calm, cool, and collected. I can tell you that both of these teams are very well confident about tomorrow's game, and that is where they are at right now mentally.
Kelly, it's been a week-long football festival here in Indianapolis. The crowds have been huge. What do you think? More Patriots fans here or Giant fans?
Honestly, because we're in Indianapolis, there's a lot of Colts jerseys out there, but the competition is fierce. A lot of Patriots, a lot of New York fans. We've even seen some 49ers fans, too. So it's been a really fun time and big crowds out here.
It's been a celebration of football that's lasted for more than a week now, and the fans have had an opportunity to get the complete NFL experience. Super Bowl week started with the world's largest press conference, known as Media Day, and a Super Bowl first, allowing fans into the stadium to watch the journalistic spectacle.
Actually, you can go up and down and listen to all the various channels. Been listening to Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Wes Welker. Pretty cool.
Media Day provided quite a show. Through the hordes of reporters and cameras, there were more than a few that stood out.
Tom Brady's probably going to want to talk to me. We got a lot to catch up on. He's had a few really bad haircuts in the past few years that we want to get to the bottom of.
The journalists came from everywhere. Brazil, Tokyo. Where are you from?
Mexico.
It's just south of Frankfurt.
And even LA.
Who wants to be a divine beast on Sunday?
From there, fans piled into the Super Bowl Village. The main attraction, an 800-foot zip line.
3, 2, 1, lift your leg.
145 feet above, ripping right through the heart of the village, which is a 44-block, square-mile epicenter of the Super Bowl experience. The crowds have exceeded expectations by the NFL, and they've been festive. What do you think of the whole NFL experience?
We love it. We're off work and got the kids out of school. It's awesome.
You can walk to everything, and it's so nice. It's family-oriented.
Part of the village is the NFL experience, a place where fans can punt, pass, kick, and even take a tackle like the pros.
It's overwhelming. It's very packed, very busy, lots to do.
But today, winter returned to Indianapolis, but so did the fans. Many making the last-minute dash for tickets.
Section 212, row 4, seat 14, and seat, I think, 15. I've always wanted to go to a Super Bowl, and we got the opportunity to come, and I said, I'm coming.
And the tailgating has already started. Barbecue, beer, and football.
Once-in-a-lifetime experience, right?
That's awesome. It's been a week of football fun leading up to the sport's biggest game. The city of Indianapolis has been a fantastic host, especially considering it's only the third cold weather city to ever get the big game. Guys, I was reading the local paper on the way out here. They were expecting about 150,000 people total in the Super Bowl Village.
Yeah.
They had that last night alone. The crowds have been huge.
It was like Times Square last night. It was packed into about a 3-block radius. Everyone's having a good time. All right, so here we are live in Indianapolis. We're going to get you ready for the big game. Of course, kickoff is tomorrow at 3:30, Patriots versus the Giants, and we will have you covered all angles. Now, tonight, Del Rogers is our KCRA insider. As you know, Del Rogers years, was a football player, and we love it because we can ask him any and everything about football. And we have his little resume here, not so little. Dell is a Super Bowl champ. He won a ring with the San Francisco 49ers. Dell also played with the Packers, and he was a third-round draft pick, and he is still very well connected with the San Francisco 49ers.
And so with that said, obviously now it's Giants-Patriots, a rematch of a Super Bowl from a couple of years ago. What are the keys to this game?
I think there are many elements that will break down this game that you can handicap for whichever team you want to win. But here are the three keys I think will determine the outcome of this game. Can the Giants get to Tom Brady? Now, 4 years ago in the Super Bowl, the Giants sacked Tom Brady 5 times. Now, the last time these two teams played was during the regular season, where the Giants sacked Tom Brady twice. One of those will return for a touchdown. Can New England stop the big three? I'm talking about Hakeem Nicks, also receiver Victor Cruz, and Mario Manningham. All three can't be double teamed, and each is capable of breaking big plays. And finally, the third thing is special teams. We saw it in the NFC Championship game between the Giants and San Francisco 49ers. If someone can score a touchdown on special teams or make a big play, 80% of the time, that team will come away with a W. Now, luckily, this game is being played inside, Reba, so weather won't be a problem.
The roof is retractable. It will be closed. So the convertible will have the roof up tomorrow at Lucas Oil Stadium.
All right, let's turn now to our AT&T special lineup for the Patriots tomorrow. We're going to start with offense and take a look at the starting lineup. Big key players, of course, Tom Brady, quarterback. He's one of the best, arguably, quarterbacks that in the football history. He's a 12-year veteran, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. So, Dale, how does his experience really factor into the Super Bowl tomorrow?
I think it's a big factor. This is his 5th Super Bowl he's going to quarterback in. When you have gone to 5 Super Bowls, this will be his 5th, you have a lot of confidence. These are big games. He knows when to pull the trigger, when to try to take a high percentage pass or throw the ball out of bounds. I think you'll see Tom Brady make great decisions.
Also, the wide receivers that we've been talking a lot about this week. We're looking at Deion Branch and Wes Walker, 2 very strong players for the Patriots. And their offense, as you know, Patriots are just powered by the offense. How is that going to line up with the Giants tomorrow?
I think if the Giants can put pressure on Tom Brady, that will stymie his passing efficiency. Because if you look at the success of the New England Patriots, because they pass the ball very well, not because they run it very well.
So speaking of Giants defense, we got to at least talk about that. Throw that full screen up if you would for us, because this list here is their starting lineup. Justin Tuck, defensive end, Jason Pierre-Paul, 2 great players all season long. As you both know, you covered that 49ers game. Right, these guys were tough against the 49ers.
And I think the defensive line, if you look at the Giants defensive line, they sacked Alex Smith 3 times. And when you put a lot of pressure on Alex Smith, you made him force the ball. I think if they can do the same thing to Tom Brady, they have an advantage to win.
And when you can get pressure with just 4 guys, it really takes the pressure off the secondary.
And that's what I like about the Giants' front line is those guys can all be tight ends. They're very big guys, but they're agile. They're athletes out front. Usually you get a D-line, the guy's got a big gut. He sits there in 2 gaps, takes your head on, and then works both of those gaps. But these guys did do a lot of stunts, a lot of movements, and I see that being done tomorrow to try to get to Tom Brady.
Yeah, that secondary is going to be pretty important.
And one of the storylines this week has been the dynamic tight end of Rob Gronkowski for the New England Patriots. 2-part question right off the bat. What's his current status tonight, and how effective can he be tomorrow?
I think he's going to be a game day decision. Rob Gronkowski, had he been 100%, he would have practiced all week. We all know he only practiced limited on Thursday, and they had a walkthrough practice on Friday, so he was there. He didn't have this boot on, but he wouldn't have wore his boot anyway. I think the high ankle sprain, low ankle sprain, whatever it is, you can't push off of an ankle. You can't make a cut. You can't block on it if it's injured.
And Del, that was my next question. How effective can he be with that injury?
I think he's missed too much practice. You got to have timing. And I know he's a veteran, seasoned veteran. He's been with this team all season long. But when you're not out there practicing game speed, you can't be efficient come game day. You can't walk through things and then think you can turn the switch and go full speed when it's time to do that.
Does that put more pressure on quarterback Tom Brady?
I think it does, because Tom's got to go find other guys, and I think he can do that. And I think Bill Belichick has been practicing that. And Tom Brady, if you ask him about what happened in the past, will that have any bearing on the future? Obvious question, or obvious answer is no, it doesn't.
There's a lot of build-up around the fact that we played these guys 4 or 5 years ago, but those were very different teams too. And a team that's going to win Sunday is the team that plays the best. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to go out there and play the best.
Brady will have an impact, win or lose, for his football team tomorrow. But on one side of the ball that you necessarily don't want to have an impact is the officiating.
Yes, I'm sure Dell knows a lot about that too. But the refs will tell you that their best games are the games where you never see them. And I got a chance to sit down with the ref who is from Sacramento, born and raised. He helps raise a family of 3. He has a normal day job, works for the government. Sounds like the rest of us. Only his quote-unquote side job on Sunday really puts him in the spotlight for the NFL. If you were one of the 107 million viewers watching Super Bowl 44, you saw this.
Onside kick to start the second half.
A pivotal play that would eventually help the Saints beat the Colts. But this guy saw it firsthand.
I thought the thing was never going to end. It was the longest onside kick in the history of mankind, I think. Then it really became a football game, and you could feel the crowd really getting into it.
Touchdown, Jeremy.
Rob Vernacci has been a referee for 30 years. He started with high school and college football, and now he's a ref in the NFL. He is one of the best, and he's one of the few who's made it to the Super Bowl.
I was starstruck, and then all of a sudden the ball's kicked off and all the flash bulbs go off, and it's amazing.
Out of 120 referees, only a handful are chosen to go to the big game.
I did 2,500 plays this year, and I made 4 mistakes, according to them. And the guy that's going probably made 2.
He says referees are just as competitive as the players. And with almost 30 years' experience, Rob has seen what football fans can only dream of.
To walk out there is a high that you can't explain. The crowd, the players, it's like a male fantasy league. I feel like I'm at home. It's the most relaxing time. Those 3 hours, I love it.
He's gotten to the playoffs every year since 2004. And with the league watching his every move.
Your weight, your appearance, and then also your behavior off the field and on the field also.
No pressure or anything.
No, it's all fun.
It's a challenge he's up for.
2nd down and 3.
The Giants and the Patriots, he's already reffed that matchup.
And that was a tough game. And it was a real physical game. And these are 2 very well-coached teams, very disciplined teams, very well-matched teams.
And yes, he knows Tom Brady.
Wonderful quarterback. And he might seem like a really peaceful, quiet guy in the interview, but he's incredibly competitive.
As you'd expect, he tries not to be biased. Who do you think's going to win?
I don't know.
This ref knows where his bread is buttered, but I think I got a hint.
The Giants have a lot of momentum going right now.
So listen to this, after every game, there's a supervisor who looks at every single play that these guys make. They look at the TV shot, that's what you and I see at home when we're watching the football game. They look at the coach's tape, which is basically the sideline shot. They look at the end zone shot, and then every call that Rob makes, every call that he doesn't make, guys, they actually give him a grade. So there's a lot of pressure every week coming out of these games. And Del, he told me to bring this to you. He said this might look familiar.
You know, I can't recall if I ever got one of these, but in the NFC Championship game, I was covering the kickoff, and a guy pushed me. I went down to the ground hard, and I got up and I told the ref, "Why didn't you call the flag?" You know, I got clipped. He said, "Rogers, it's too cold for me to go in my pocket and get it out and throw that flag."
Well, there you go. I'll throw it to you at work sometime.
There you go.
And just like the players themselves, they earned their spot here. It was earlier this week when the NFL announced the officiating crew that has been the best all year that will officiate in tomorrow's Super Bowl. We started off the week with the world's largest press conference. It's known as Media Day. I was talking to Bob Costas on Media Day. He said, "This is a circus." Look at the scrum around Tom Brady earlier in the week. From a prediction standpoint, I believe there was more media at the Patriots Media Day than the Giants Media Day, and we're talking about the New York media there. There's some interesting, some obscure, and for the first time ever, there were fans. Fans were allowed to pay $25 to get into the stadium and to watch the spectacle. I hope we gave them something good to watch. It was interesting. They had guys with microphones. You had a little earpiece, and you could listen in to some of the interviews that we were conducting on Media Day. One of the guys that is going to be part of the media now is a former player as well, just like you, and it's Chris Collinsworth. He'll be in the broadcast booth with Al Michaels, providing the color commentary for NBC. Chris played in the 1989 Super Bowl, trying to win the ring that Dell is wearing. We talked to him about that game, what he remembers, and it's a game that he says is one of the best of all time.
Super Bowl 23 is highly regarded as one of the best Super Bowls ever. It also solidified the legend of Joe Montana. drama of the game was in the second half, with Cincinnati striking first. Running back Stanford Jennings returned a kick 93 yards for a touchdown, giving Cincinnati the lead. Bengals still held a 16-13 advantage with just 3 minutes on the clock. That set the stage for one of the greatest comebacks ever.
What I can remember is sitting on the bench and one of our young receivers coming up to me going, "We got them now. They haven't moved the ball the whole day. There's no way they're going 90 yards in the last 2 minutes. Where are we going to party?" And I said, "Oh, will you please shut up? Will you look out there and see if Joe and Jerry and the guys are in the huddle? Because this thing is a long way from over."
Joe Montana marched the 49ers 92 yards in under 3 minutes. The 49ers quarterback was cool under fire, making big completions to Hall of Famer Jerry Rice on the drive. But the game winner, with just 34 seconds left, to John Taylor.
And I can remember going from cheering against the 49ers to actually cheering for them on the tail end of that drive, because I knew there was no stopping them, and I didn't want them to eat up all the clock. I wanted one final shot, and of course Joe and John and Jerry did it all. They scored, they ate up all the clock, and gave us no chance to come back the other way, which is why history is going to remember them as one of the greatest teams ever.
Collinsworth remembers watching the celebration from the field in Miami that day. The pain of the loss still haunts him 23 years later.
Does it still hurt?
Every day.
Really?
Every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about one of the two. I played in the 81 and 88 seasons, and but they're deserving champions. You know, the nice thing about it is you look back and you understand that they were a special bunch.
You know, Dylan, I grew up in Cincinnati. I was a season ticket holder with my dad that year. Obviously, you broke my heart in part of that game. But he taught. It was almost an uncomfortable conversation when I brought it up, from the fact that it still bugs him because he knew he had only 2 shots, and he never got that ring. What do you remember about that game?
I'll tell you what. I remember that drive that started us to win. I took that kickoff and started that thing, and I remember I got a pop. I went into the pile thinking I was going to come out the other side and take it down for a touchdown, but I got hit with a helmet, and I got a concussion. I mean, that was the last play of my NFL career, was that Super Bowl drive to start us to win Super Bowl 23 over the Bengals.
I could say the last play of your career was putting that ring on. When John Taylor made the catch,
I was sitting on the bench. I mean, I just saw everybody jump up. They were still giving me how many fingers, Dale, you see. I just remember everyone just shouting. So I go, "Did he score?" They said, "Yeah," and I knew right then we had won.
And it was interesting, though, he did give credit to the fact that he knew how much class the organization had from the Niners standpoint, and how much he knew how special that team was.
It was very special. It started with the owner, Eddie DeBartolo Jr., and it also began with Bill Walsh.
You mentioned that today, just hours ago, they made the finalists for the 2012 class of the NFL Hall of Fame, which will be enshrined a little bit later on in the summer in Canton, Ohio. Here's the list. Curtis Martin, the running back, Cortez Kennedy, Dimitri Dawson, Chris Dolman, and Willie Rofe will be in the 2012 club. It's interesting because of some of the finalists of the names that aren't on there, and I'll begin with an Oakland Raider, Tim Brown.
I'll tell you what, great name. Anyone in the Raider Nation knows the name of Tim Brown. He had been with that organization for 15 years. He's over 1,000 catches, over 16,000 yards, 105 touchdowns. How could Tim Brown not make it? This is the second time he was up. He should have made it the first time, and Tim Brown is Oakland Raider football.
And he's a class act. One of your former teammates, who arguably is one of the best defensive ends of all time, Charles Haley, passed over once again.
You know, Charles Haley is a guy who redefined the defensive end. As I spoke earlier, defensive ends are usually big guys with big bellies, and they just stop the run. Charles Haley was the first defensive end that stood up if a running back was coming out of the backfield, and he turned himself into a linebacker. He went down. He won 5 Super Bowls. He's in the 100 sack club. I can't believe Charles Haley, a former teammate of mine, did not make it.
And from the playing standpoint to the front office, another finalist that did not make the cut, and I know it's a man that's near and dear to your heart, Eddie DeBartolo Jr.
Very sad to see Eddie DeBartolo not make it. Eddie was one of the great owners in the NFL. When we played in the All-American Bowl in London, he said, "Hey, if you bring your wife or your mother to the game, we'll put them up in a suite. If you bring your girlfriend, you got to get a regular room." I mean, Eddie DeBartolo wanted us to be family. He's one of the first owners to not only give Super Bowl rings to the players, he got Super Bowl rings for their wives as well.
And he reached out to you at the NFC Championship game. He stayed in contact over the years with his former players.
Eddie was a little mad with me because he invited me out to go to dinner. And I said, Eddie, I can't go. You and I had that special Saturday night before the Saints played the 49ers, and I couldn't go to dinner. So, Eddie, I'm sorry. Or I should say, Mr. D, I'm sorry.
And I didn't get the invite.
I didn't either. What the heck, Dad?
Yeah.
All right, we have a ton to cover tonight, and you can also go online to kcra.com. Right up on the top there is a special VIP section. We have been taking pictures all week on our Twitter accounts and our Facebook accounts, and that is all linked to the uLocal page at kcra.com. Again, behind-the-scenes access, real-time updates. You can get all this on your phone, by the way, too. We've highlighted some of the places you can actually watch the game in Northern California. And I love this. KCRA staff posted some of their favorite foods for the Super Bowl. So we got some wings, some 7-layer dip, great stuff for the Super Bowl, all on our website. In the meantime, we've been, for the past month, talking to local and national celebrities about their picks for the game. Here's what the mayor had to say.
New York Giants should take it. Eli Manning, he looks determined. He has an older brother. I'm a younger brother. I know what it's like. He's not going to let this one get away from him.
A fumble away from the Super Bowl. How the 49ers bounce back next season and the players that could be going away.
Do your job. Be smart. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
Before he was a Super Bowl MVP.
His determination, his hard work, and his drive is really, I think, what's made everything happen.
Chico's Aaron Rodgers was ignored by college recruiters coming out of high school. The one game he played in Oroville that changed everything.
Welcome back to the Road to the Championship special on Super Bowl Eve here in Indianapolis. Taking a look at Lucas Oil Stadium. What a beautiful facility. Opened up in 2008. It cost $720 million to build. And Dale, they can expand it to 70,000 seats for tomorrow's big game. We were in there, obviously, for Media Day. What a beautiful facility it is indeed here in Indianapolis. A couple of short weeks ago, we were in San Francisco. It was the Giants and the 49ers playing in the NFC Championship game. A couple of plays make the difference in that football game. We think potentially San Francisco should be there. How do the Niners recover from that loss and get ready for next season?
I think like all the other 30 teams. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and only 2 teams are going to make it. Those 30 teams have to reload, and that's what the San Francisco 49ers will do. They'll just reload and come out and try to do better and do bigger things than they did the previous year.
And you talk about reload. One of the things they must do in the offseason is secure the quarterback position because Alex Smith is going to be a free agent in the offseason. Is he going to come back?
I think he should come back. Alex Smith, I kind of look at him as a quarterback who really didn't go out and win any games, but he didn't lose any games. He has to get better and try to win more games for San Francisco. He has a 61% completion rating. He threw for over 3,000 yards during the regular season, only 5 interceptions.
And
that was real key.
He didn't turn the football.
No, and I think that shows a lot of maturity in him, making the right decisions when pressure is upon him.
But I'll say this, I think the time is now for the Niners because that defense really, quite frankly, is second to none.
I think the defense, they finished 4th in the National League in the entire NFL during the regular season, and that's what they say, defense wins championships, and 49ers defense was great. You look at Patrick Willis, had he not got injured on the back end of December, I think it would have helped them go a little farther into the playoffs, which probably would have been to the Super Bowl.
So who are the other big names on that team that you'd like?
When you look at your defense, I like Carlos Rogers. You know, last year, we'll talk about the safeties in the secondary. So Deshaun Golston, he's the one who caused that fumble in the opening drive against New Orleans Saints. Hope he can come back. Cornerback Carlos Rogers, he led the team with interceptions. This is his 7th year. Linebacker Amon Brooks, he was 6th year in the NFL. He had 49 tackles, 7 sacks for the 49ers. These guys are the guys you want to come back. The defense was perfect. Nothing was wrong on defense. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
And I'll throw one more name, Dante Whitner, because he hits everything that moves.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking more about the Raiders, not just the 49ers, but the Raiders. Obviously, what's their real coach really like? The new guy, right?
Yeah.
From the Broncos.
Yeah.
What's he really like? We're going to be talking about the quarterback situation. Do we keep him? Do we let him go? And we're also going to be talking about a couple other things you might be surprised to hear. We'll be right back here from Indianapolis.
You could really kind of see how special he was going to be in that game alone.
A game changer, the one day in Oroville that catapulted Aaron Rodgers onto his path to stardom. It's not your typical Super Bowl environment. The steps Indianapolis is taking to keep people warm even when they're outside.
Live from Indianapolis, a KCRA3 News Special. The road to the championship continues.
Welcome back, and of course, this is the hardware that both teams will be battling for tomorrow here in Indianapolis. It's the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It was designed by Tiffany & Company way back when. Originally, though, it wasn't referred to as the Lombardi Trophy. It was originally called the World Professional Football Championship Trophy. They didn't rename it to the Lombardi Trophy until Super Bowl V. It's 22 inches high, it weighs 7 pounds, and it is made of sterling silver. It was on display at the NFL Experience earlier this week. The lines were enormous just to walk by and to take a picture. Good evening. I'm Chris Riva alongside Kelly McMullen and our sports director, Del Rogers, who's also our Super Bowl insider. He's wearing one of the rings that both teams are playing for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bling, that's what we have right there. And so, Del, I think the one thing about this rematch from 4 years ago, this game has so many storylines. They're juicy. What are the top three?
I think the main one is they did play the Super Bowl 4 years ago where the Giants won. And if you look at when the last time these two teams played, the Giants went into New England and they beat the Patriots there. The number two, the second storyline, Brady versus Manning, Eli Manning. You look at Brady, this is his 5th Super Bowl. Eli Manning, his 2nd Super Bowl. I go with the guy who has more experience in Super Bowls. These are huge games. The right decision at the right time will definitely help the outcome of this game. And then the injury concern. You look at New England Patriots, his tight end, Rob Gronkowski, he's not 100%. Had he been, he would have practiced all week. Will be a factor. And then you look for the Giants, Ahmad Bradshaw, which has kind of been quiet. He did not wasn't able to practice full speed this week. He has a bad ankle also.
And I think you could talk about the legacy of Bill Belichick. What happens if he loses to the same coach, the Giants, twice in 4 years of the Super Bowl?
I think he's going to find a way to win next time they meet again.
If he doesn't retire.
Right.
That's what the other gossip has been about this week. Hey, you guys were out at the NFL Experience. Wasn't that cool?
Awesome.
That's where they've had all the zip lining and all the things for kids and families. They're expecting downtown tomorrow more than 300,000 people for Super Bowl Sunday. And all those people are spending a lot of money. They are willing to buy a piece of this pie to have a little memorabilia. Take a look. How much money do you think you're going to spend today?
I gave myself a salary cap of $200.
$500, $600, $700.
Well, I live here in town. This is my first day down. I didn't want to spend over $200, but look at these prices. I'm well over it already.
A couple $100. Maybe around $125.
At least $100 a person.
The Super Bowl shopping experience isn't just t-shirts and hats anymore. At the Indianapolis Superstore, you can get anything. Shell necklaces painted with your favorite team, crocheted pillows for grandma, even a Giants Patriots bath set. And it isn't cheap. Team rain boots, a Patriots yoga mat.
This football, Wilson football, because it has Super Bowl and it's got a picture of our wonderful city, Indy.
To super fans, it isn't about the money.
$700, $800.
It's about making a family memory.
Giants.
And remembering the big game was here.
Well, we have a jersey that says Super Bowl 46 and a couple t-shirts that say Super Bowl 46.
Pay for a Super Bowl logo, it's not a big deal.
Sales clerks, well, they see it differently. Behind registers, as far as you can see, gladly accepting payment.
Somewhere around $2,000, I think. He was buying things for everyone. Everyone in his family, everyone in his office.
So what's the number one thing people are buying?
I would say the fingers. I've seen a lot of people buy these fingers and I don't know why.
And you give them the finger, right?
Yeah.
All in good fun, buying a little reminder of Super Bowl 46.
For me, about $3,000.
Worth it for some, even if it costs an arm and a leg.
It's because the Super Bowl is only going to be maybe once in a lifetime for me, and I'm looking so forward to going.
So here I am doing this story and spending all this money. What do I do after that? Spend a ton of money, and I felt bad. You know, Dell has a Super Bowl ring, so I bought you this. A nice little football. It has a little, isn't that cute? It has a little Super Bowl logo on there. Dell, I didn't leave you out. I was just kidding. I got you a hat.
Is that
nice?
Is that an extra L to get over my forehead of mine?
Get over your big head.
Better be a big one.
There somewhere.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll chuck that around a little bit later on. Let's go back to talking about the guys that are going to be chucking the football around tomorrow. It's the ATT Universe starting lineup. So we begin with the Giants, Dale, and it has to start and end really with Eli Manning, who at the start of the year put himself in that upper echelon of quarterbacks, and people scoffed at the time.
Yeah, they still feel that Eli Manning is not the proven product yet. He has to win tomorrow for folks to believe in Eli Manning, but I'll tell you what, Victor Cruz is going to be a dominating factor. He almost single-handedly beat the 49ers. Remember in the second quarter, leading up to halftime? I mean, he couldn't keep the ball. They could not get the ball to anyone else but him.
Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks obviously making up one of the best wide receiver tandems in the NFL. Tight end, Jake Ballard, and then here's the big guys up front. Will Beatty, Kareem McKenzie, Chris Snee, and David Deal. And if you remember David Boss, he had the stomach flu against the Niners leading up, he and Eli.
And the center is the quarterback of the offensive line. The center determines who picks up the blitzing linebacker. So the center position is probably the most second important position when it comes to offense.
And then on to the AT-Uverse starting secondary for the defense. Taking a look. Now here's the guys up front. Vince Wilfork had an enormous game in the AFC Championship game against, of course, the Baltimore Ravens.
Right, you know, and the nose tackle position is a position that is the foundation, is the anchor of the defensive line. If your defensive nose guard is playing well, that means no one can run in between those gaps between the center, the left gap and the right gap. Those two gaps belong to the defensive tackle. If he can own those, he can stop the running game, force you to pass, and then interceptions come after that.
Linebacker core very solid, but not names to jump out necessarily. And the big question here, as we take a look at the defensive secondary here, can they stop, of course, the wide receiver play and Eli Manning of the Giants?
I think that's going to be one of the keys, is trying to stop Eli Manning. You look at him, and he's going to be the success or the failure of the New York Giants tomorrow. And if you talk to Eli, you ask him the same question that you asked Tom Brady. You know, does the last time you guys two played have any bearing on tomorrow's outcome? And here's what he had to say.
I think we have to create, have to have the mindset. It's a new game, same teams, but a lot of, different makeup, and that, what happened in the last Super Bowl doesn't matter. What happened in the last game this season doesn't matter. It's about what we do on Sunday, what we do in this game.
And of course, part of the Super Bowl week is there are honors being handed out tonight of the best players of the year, Kelly.
Absolutely. The NFL's been handing out some honors. We're happy to announce that the 49ers coach, Jim Harbaugh, got the AP Coach of the Year. And this is really exciting, as you know. He's really done well with the team this year. He's led the 49ers back to the playoffs. This is the first year with the Niners. He took them from 6-10 to 13-3, so close to coming here to the Super Bowl. Of course, he was head coach at Stanford last year. So, guys, he really deserves the award this year.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think the way that football team rallied around him and played for him is absolutely amazing. And look what Mike Singletary did, and he was a motivating coach. But compared to what Jim Harbaugh, he certainly is deserving of the award.
Turned the whole program around in one single year. You don't see that too often in the NFL.
Yeah. I love that they're here too. I mean, some of the best players, the best plays, they're all here celebrating. Even though it's two teams in Sacramento, San Francisco isn't in the game, we're still being represented here. I was really surprised, I got to say, at the awards tonight. A couple Bronco players won. A little bit of a shocker. 49ers rookie linebacker Aldon Smith did not get an award this year. He's not the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Broncos' Von Miller took that award. And I got to ask you guys, because Smith finished second. He had 14 sacks. Von Miller, 11.5 sacks. He was injured part of the season. So, Del, are you surprised that he got this award?
Well, no, you have to look at your success to your team. How valuable are you to your team and what your team has accomplished?
And Von Miller also is a bigger name. I mean, it's the name the media knew, where Aldon Smith, who was very good on the defensive line for the Niners, but it was a standpoint where he perhaps wasn't as popular, at least with the national media, as Von Miller was.
And I got to ask real quick, this half-sack thing, what is that?
Here's the deal. When you get like the 49ers, Justin Tuck had a sack and a half in the NFC Championship game. And what that means is if two guys get on the quarterback and they both bring him down, they got to split that. One guy doesn't get the sack. So Justin Tuck got a sack and a half because he had an outright sack and and then him and another D lineman had a sack. So they split the sack up, and that's how you get a half.
What if there's 3? Did they get thirds?
I don't think they do that, Kelly.
All right.
One of the awards tonight was for the NFL MVP, and it went to Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who is a Chico native. It's interesting, one of the games that catapulted him to the MVP status this year was a 6-touchdown performance against the Denver Broncos. After the game, they asked him, have you ever played a game like that? And he surprised them with the answer of yes. And it was when I was at Butte College in Oroville. Before Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, the Super Bowl champ, or the leader of the Green Bay Packers.
Do your job. Be smart. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
He was the starting quarterback at Butte College in Oroville. Ignored by college recruiters coming out of high school, Rodgers started here.
His determination, his hard work, and his drive is really, I think, what's made everything happen.
One of his standout games this season was a 6-touchdown performance against the Denver Broncos. During the game, Rodgers threw for 4 TDs. He ran for 2 more. The last time he did that was in 2002, when Butte College played Shasta. What do you remember about that game?
Well, I remember that game that we put a couple special plays in to let him really turn him loose and throw the ball.
As a quarterback coach and offensive coordinator at the time, you could really kind of see how special he was going to be in that game alone.
And that's actually the film that we sent to Cal, because we're trying to get the tight end, Garrett Cross, to Cal, and that's actually the film Jeff Tedford saw and said, who in the heck is that quarterback?
It would not be long before everyone knew. This year, Rodgers had the best season of his career, guiding the Packers to a 15-1 record, throwing for more than 4,600 yards, while completing 68% of his passes, with an astonishing touchdown-to-interception ratio, 45-6.
To know Aaron as long as we have, and to be able to see some of the things that he's achieved and the progress that he's made, especially at that high caliber of a football program, it's just amazing.
Coming from where he was in 2002 as an unrecruited kid out of a local high school to now being the best player at this time in the National Football League with the best players in the world, it's pretty special for him and for us too.
The roots of an MVP started here in Oroville, playing football on Saturday afternoons for Butte College. Now, he's a premier quarterback in the NFL, Super Bowl champion, and an MVP.
He's such a great person, and he's such a great community member and such a great representative of this school because of all the things that he stands for. It's very special to see sometimes nice guys really do finish first.
And I think with this award, he has finally shed the comparisons to another legendary Green Bay quarterback in Brett Favre. Think about this. Favre was a 3-time MVP. His numbers, Aaron Rodgers, this year were 25% better than any of the MVP years from Brett Favre.
And let me add that Aaron Rodgers spells his last name the correct way, with a D.
So he's an MVP for that as well.
You know, as I mentioned before, we're hearing from a lot of celebrities, local and national celebrities. I thought we were going to hear from the mayor before we listened to Cake and got their picks, but we're hearing now from Mayor Kevin Johnson and his wife, Michelle Reed. Who do they think is going to win tomorrow?
I love Eli Manning, what he was able to do, especially being in the shadow of his brother Peyton. So seeing them back there, again, is exciting. But I'm a Tom Brady man. So at the end of the day, I'd like to see New England win it.
I'm a Tom Brady fan. I met him one time. We attended a State of the Union together, and I became a big fan at that point.
This is a new Oakland Raiders.
A new coach, a new GM, but the right direction? The Raiders' big issues going into the offseason and why they could have some problems when it comes to getting younger.
The beginning of a college education, what it would be.
The skyrocketing cost of a ticket to the big game. How much a suite will cost you, but why you won't see any scalpers outside the stadium.
Welcome back to Indianapolis as we're live on the road to the championship. There is the logo on the side of Lucas Oil Stadium, often referred to as the Shield, as well as some signage of the Lombardi Trophy here in Indianapolis, home of Super Bowl 46, which will be played tomorrow.
And we are so glad you're with us on this chilly night here in Indianapolis. Perfect football weather if they're playing outside, right? All this week, you know, we've been talking about the Patriots and the Giants, but we want to focus a little bit on our Northern California teams. You guys talked about the 49ers a little bit. I want to talk about the Raiders because, as you know, they just got a new head coach, Dennis Allen. He's a guy that people really don't know that much about. And the reality is he's the youngest head coach in the NFL, 39 years old. The other guy I can think of that was that young, Josh McDaniels from the Broncos. That didn't work out so well, and that's where this guy came from. He was the former defensive coordinator for the Broncos. He's never been a head coach, so Dell, is he the answer for the Raiders?
Well, unfortunately, from my point of view, I don't think Dennis Allen is the right fit for the Oakland Raiders. And the reason why I say that is they need defense. They need help on defense. Last year, that's where their downfall was. They scored a lot of points on offense, couldn't stop teams from scoring. Dennis Allen's, as a defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, his defense finished 20th out of 32 teams' defense. So that's not the numbers you want. As you said earlier, he's never been a head coach at any level, college, high school, in the pros. So at that level, you have to be an administrator, not just an X's and O's guys. You have to be an administrator and a communicator, and you learn that by walking up the ladder. He hasn't done that yet. So I don't think he's the right fit.
I got to say this, though. First of all, he did make the defense for the Broncos better. And I sat next to a Bronco guy, VP of marketing and PR on the airplane coming out here, and he said to me, this guy is at every meeting, he's a good guy, and we're sad to see him go. So they believed in him, and we get him.
And he's the hot candidate. Right. His name was up.
You always hope it's the right decision. But looking back, and you look at the numbers, he's not the fit for the Oakland Raiders, I don't think.
All right. Well, speaking of the Oakland Raiders, the draft situation is a mess. Want to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot that went into this. They have either lost or traded their first 4 picks in this year's draft. Their first-round pick went to the Bengals for Carson Palmer. The second-rounder goes to the Patriots. They lost their third-round pick for getting Terrell Pryor, and their fourth-round pick goes to Washington as part of the Jason Campbell deal. So with no draft picks, what should the Raiders be focusing on?
I think you should trade Jason Campbell. I think you should trade him, go out there and get you some free agents with him with that money you can get for him, because you're not going to get anything through the draft because you don't have any draft picks. You gave him up to get Carson Palmer. And I think Carson Palmer is a better fit for the Oakland Raiders than Jason Campbell. Carson Palmer came in on the back end. He didn't get a lot of practice time, but after he figured things out, he almost got him into the playoffs.
Yeah, but the quarterback situation, do you think that that's going to last? Obviously, we have someone who kind of helped the team get to 8-8. Is the quarterback situation going to last, or do you think they need to switch that up as well?
I think you trade Jason Campbell, and you keep Carson Palmer, and you define his role for that team. You give him some confidence, and if you have confidence, you can win. Look what Alex Smith did for the 49ers when he finally got some confidence after struggling for 6 years with almost 6 different offensive coordinators.
Switching back to the Super Bowl, you were throwing a little souvenir a little bit earlier on. Here's the official game ball for tomorrow's Super Bowl 46. It's pretty interesting. It has the matchup between the two teams on one side and the Super Bowl logo on the other side. Believe it or not, it's something you probably don't think about a whole lot. The game ball itself, but it's made by a small factory in Middle America where there's so much pride put into every stitch.
It can be said that the Super Bowl begins at the sewing machine.
When we get the balls, it comes in 4 panels. And then after we get the 4 panels, we sew the half sections.
The handoff goes to Emmett.
My step, I turn the balls right side out. We have a steam box that we put the ball in to make it more pliable and easier to turn. Tap these ends down to get rid of the excess, so when I start to turn it, the ball doesn't twist and ruin the end.
My job is bladder and lace. Put just enough air into it where I can get the ball laced shut. I lace about 200 balls a day.
From the stitching to the laces, each game ball is made by the Wilson Football Factory in the small town of Ada, Ohio. 100 workers make 700,000 footballs each year, including every ball ever used during the Super Bowl.
Each team uses around 1,000 game balls a year.
1,000 game balls. And then how many have you made for the Super Bowl?
We sent 108 balls to each team.
Here is this year's game ball.
I know that every ball out there, every point is going to be scored. I had a small part in it.
We're the only ones that make footballs in America, and there's 17 people that does my job. So there's a 1 in 17 chance that I did something to that football.
The ball itself is something fans think little about, but every ball is stitched together with pride, and the Super Bowl could not be won without it.
It's the 7th year that the factory in Ada, Ohio comes out to the NFL Experience and actually makes game balls right in front of the fans. Sell it for $130, although inside the NFL merchandise store, it was $200.
Jack up the prices, don't they? We're all broke out
There you go. Speaking of money and speaking of saving money, not having money, there's a family, there's six folks from the Stockton area received tickets to Super Bowl 46 right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, all courtesy, they won it, I should say, from the United Way of the San Joaquin County. Will Hereford has their story.
Congratulations. Manteca car dealer Bill Cabral is congratulated on winning 2 tickets to the Super Bowl plus $2,000 spending money.
And I said, oh, you'll never win them things, and by golly, she did.
His wife bought 5 $100 raffle tickets, benefiting the United Way of San Joaquin.
We'll probably give them away to one of our kids or something, because we won't go, because the seats are high, and we're older, we don't walk up that high.
And they're all right here in this hopper, and 6 very fortunate people were able to win those grand prizes.
The United Way's Andy Prokop says more than 3,600 people bought tickets, making this 4th year of the drawing the most successful.
It's an absolute blessing that's brought to us courtesy of Mr. and Mrs. Spanos, their families.
The tickets and the money were all donated by the owner of the San Diego Chargers, Stockton's own Alex Spanos.
Mr. and Mrs. Spanos are the only owners of any NFL team who donate their tickets to be given away as charitable causes like this. There are no other owners that do this, and the NFL it knows that they are truly an exception.
Of the 6 winners, we couldn't find one who planned on attending the Super Bowl. 2 had sold them, and one man from El Dorado Hills donated his tickets to be sold to benefit a Sacramento Youth Athletic Foundation. There were also cash prizes, 5 $1,000 winners and 10 $500 winners. Andy Prokop says many of those winners donated the money back to the United Way.
So, yay, what a great deal.
Thanks to the generosity of one family and all those who took a chance to go to the Super Bowl, the United Way comes out as the big winner. In Stockton, Will Hereford, KCRA 3 reports.
Thank you, Will. You know, over $400,000 was raised for that, and 33 local charities in the San Joaquin County received those funds.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so great. It is so expensive to go to the game, and I bet that's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for that family. It's going to be some interesting weather. We should talk about that because we're all bundled up here. We were very lucky yesterday. It was warm, but take a look at the weather we shot earlier this afternoon. Rain coming down. It has been cold, and I will tell you that Indianapolis actually gets about 41 inches of rain a year, which is about 3 times what we get in Sacramento. So it's pretty normal. We should have been used to this. We should have prepared maybe a little bit more.
We should have been.
We're all bundled up, but Indianapolis is making sure that all the fans that come out here are warm, and I'll tell you, they're going to come to the game, they're going to come to the festivities either way.
We'll do a hand check here.
There you go.
Hand check. Oh, you didn't have gloves on.
I'm
no
shaking.
gloves. No gloves, okay.
Check out what Indianapolis is doing to keep the rest of the fans warm.
It's pleasant. It's a good idea, I think.
Art Loy and his wife Rusty tested one of the warming lamps during their visit to downtown Indianapolis. Since most Super Bowls are played in warm climates, Indianapolis officials have put up these warming lamps throughout the Super Bowl village. They hang about 10 feet and generate a pretty good amount of heat. The Super Bowl host committee hopes the free heat will keep the streets full of football fans. The portable restrooms also heated and have running water. A Nordstrom department store is also a warming destination. It's called the Huddle and is now fully renovated on all 3 floors.
The public could come in, have a place to get warm, enjoy some low-key entertainment, get something to eat, get something to drink.
The first floor includes seating and food vendors. Other floors you can buy NFL merchandise.
Hats, t-shirts, jackets, gloves, plush footballs, little animals that have Super Bowl logos on it.
Super Bowl event organizers hope the cold won't stop people from heading downtown.
And I've got some great news. It's supposed to be like 72, 73 tomorrow.
Sweet.
We're ready.
If you're inside the stadium.
Off. Yeah. We are.
Dang it. These 2 guys are probably going, and I'm going to be out here in the cold. Thanks a lot,
Just
guys.
bundle up as well. Still much more to come on the road to the championship. Here's the skyline tonight in downtown Indianapolis. It's been a festive week of celebrating football and Super Bowl 46. When we come back, we'll have more on the big game live from Indianapolis.
Live from Indianapolis, a KCRA 3 News special. The road to the championship continues.
Welcome back live from Indianapolis. The beautiful skyline. They have been a wonderful host city. 24 times the NFC has won the Super Bowl championships to just 21 times of the AFC. Of course, the Giants are the NFC representative and the New England Patriots are the AFC representative. Guys, they're expecting 100 million viewers worldwide for tomorrow's game.
I believe it.
Welcome back. I'm Chris Riva alongside Kelly McMullen and our sports director and Super Bowl insider, Del Rogers. Thanks for joining us.
You know, it's kind of interesting when you look at the Super Bowl itself, because the person looking on the outside is not here. We're showing them a lot of activities taking place, and then you assume that when the Super Bowl is gone and left, there's nothing here but bare bones. But the Super Bowl has done a great job in building money and building things in this area, and it's called the economic impact that it has in the area where the Super Bowl is being held. Along with hosting Super Bowl 46 comes millions of dollars for the city of Indianapolis and surrounding counties. Leonard Hoops, the president of the Indianapolis Convention and Visitors Association, once held a similar position in Sacramento, is elated with the projected numbers this community will receive.
One of the things we've looked at is the actual spending during the week leading up to the Super Bowl, somewhere between $150 and $200 million. It depends on how many from out of town come versus the locals.
Even the owners of parking lots around Lucas Oil Stadium are expecting a huge payday on Super Bowl Sunday.
$20 to $30 for the regular season Colts games. We've been charging $20 up until now. $2.99 for the Super Bowl.
Businesses within 3 blocks of Lucas Oil Stadium were told by city officials that Super Bowl week would be great, but those expectations have not yet been seen by all businesses in the 3-block area.
Everybody said that we would be doing 3 to 6 months worth of business in 10 days. And it's definitely not going to be that much. But, you know, like I said, it is more than it typically is, but not quite as much as we were promised.
One of the city's best-known restaurants is St. Elmo's Steakhouse, and as expected, there is always a line out front to get in. And once inside, their world-famous shrimp cocktail was ready to be served in record numbers. St. Elmo's Steakhouse is so popular that quarterbacks Eli Manning and Tom Brady both had dinner here on Monday night at the same time, but they sat at different tables.
The business that's coming in it's triple what we would normally do, so pretty significant impact.
But the real economic impact on Indianapolis hosting Super Bowl 46 won't be felt until after the Super Bowl is long and gone.
There's a lot of work to put something on like this. For 150 to 200 million, that's great, but it may not be what you want to get out of something like this. But if you can really elevate people's perception of your destination, bring more conventions to town, more businesses to town, that's where the real value is.
So they're looking at the future, not just what happened on Sunday. When the Super Bowl is gone, Indianapolis is looking to benefit in the future.
They're making a lot of money.
And they're used to hosting big events. The Indianapolis 500, the NCAA tournament. They know how to host a big event like this. They've done a great job this week.
I think so too, and I got to say real quick that everybody that I have met here, I bet you guys agree, has been so nice. It's like they're
I'm from
like something
Midwest
in the
hospitality.
water. Well, I'm not talking about you, but I mean from the police to the security to the everyday person on the street, they're so nice.
Very cordial and polite, very helpful when we're walking around looking lost, trying to find where we want to go. People would come up to you and go, "Where are you trying to go to?
Yeah.
Where are you trying to find out? What street you looking for?"
It's nice. They make you feel right at home. All right, let's get more to the game here with AT&T Uverse, and we're going to talk about special teams. This is going to be a very interesting part of the game. We start with the Giants. Kicker Lawrence Tynes, he kicked that game-winning 31-yard field goal against the 49ers to win it 20-17. Hate to bring it up, gotta bring it up. Punter Steve Weatherford, been a solid puncher, as well as Steven Gostkowski for the Patriots. Zoltan Mesko doesn't get a lot of experience punting because the Patriots have such a good offense. But boy, when you look at the Super Bowls, Del, 3 of the last 4 have come down to these last-second wins. They've been decided by 6 points or fewer. So with these games, with the offense on both, what is going to be the advantage here? Who has the advantage?
I think the advantage is a person that has experience. I like the Giants. Giants because of Lawrence Tynes. I mean, he can boot the big game balls when he has to, and that's what it comes down to, experience. I said that about Tom Brady. This is his 5th Super Bowl. You look at is Lawrence Tynes. The guy is a big-time kicker, big-time games, and I like the Giants' defense. I like the Giants' special
And I think one of the great storylines of this, we were talking about it earlier, the 2 head coaches.
Right, they used to coach each other.
Let's begin with Tom Coughlin, who was widely considered a grisly, mean tyrant of a coach until a couple of years back. They say he's softened. 65 years of age. This is his 2nd trip to the Super Bowl. Of course, it's a rematch of the first time he was there with the New England Patriots and the Giants. He has a 10-7 record in the postseason, and he's been with the Giants now for 8 seasons. I don't think many people thought, Del, that he would be here this long, especially when Tiki Barber retired.
I didn't think a lot of people thought that Coughlin would not be here this year. They're very surprised, and they kind of felt that this was a make-or-break year from him. If he did not make it to the Super Bowl, not the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, he would not be with the New York Giants next year.
You win 1, you put your name in the history books as a coach. You win 2, you become one of the best coaches in the history of the NFL. Here's what he had to say about possibly winning and his legacy.
The furthest thing from my mind is how that enhances my whatever legacy or whatever term you use. That's nowhere near anything that I think about right now. What I'm concerned with is the focus, the concentration of our players, putting ourselves in the best frame of mind that we can possibly be.
So on the flip side of the coin for the New England Patriots is a guy they refer to as the mastermind. Bill Belichick's 5th Super Bowl. He is 1-3, 59 years of age, 17-6 is his postseason record. He's been, of course, with New England for the past 12 years. He is only 8 wins away for 200 for his career. The 2 coaches actually worked together, as you were mentioning, Del, on a staff with Bill Parcells. But what does it say about his legacy if he gets knocked off by Tom Coughlin twice in the last 2 Super Bowls that he's coached?
You know what? I think he'll always come back. You know, Bill Belichick, to his players, he's called the mad scientist. He's a guy that's going to find a way to beat you. He's a great chess player. He's a great manipulator. I mean, he knows how to win, and he'll find a way to beat you.
Here's what he had to say about coaching with Tom Coughlin and what he's learned from him.
But that was really exceptional. It was a very, I learned a lot from Tom relative to the offensive point of view of the passing game.
So it's going to be interesting. I really think it's a great chess match we'll have between these 2 coaches.
You know, guys, when I was doing my shopping, I was looking for that cutoff sweatshirt.
Right.
Just like Belichick.
Which is a hit.
They didn't have them for the ladies, but they have this whole entire experience. If you want anything bedazzled for any team that you want, Cherie Paolo shows us how the women are really getting into the NFL gear.
Everywhere you look in Indy, you see jerseys, Patriots, Giants, and everything in between. And it's not just the guys.
Devin Hester from the Bears. Wes Welker, go Pats. I got a collar jersey from the Colts. Yeah!
Look at all of the women we found sporting their team colors and talking football.
And the guys come over and we, party and drink or whatever, but we're definitely into it as much as they are.
And they're just as competitive. Nelda Moore is a Pats fan.
Oh, New England.
Her girlfriend, C.K. Smith, is a Giants fan, at least this weekend.
I said, I'm just not a New England fan.
They're playing nice tonight, but come Sunday, watch out.
I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be very close. I think it's who's going to make a mistake, but I'm hoping New England will win.
Last year's Super Bowl program was the most watched in U.S. history. The NFL attributes that in part to the growing female audience. More American women watch the NFL than any other team sport, more than Major League Baseball and the NBA. And women like CK take it seriously. She has her own fantasy team and actually won this year, beating out the guys.
It's my favorite sport. Sunday afternoons are spent with the laptop on my lap.
So tonight is girls' night, but Sunday will be football, football, football. And these girls are already looking forward to next season.
Oh, I'm going to be depressed until August.
Yeah, those credit cards are maxed out this weekend. All the ladies going crazy buying that gear, but it's been a fun time. And we've read, I read in the paper this morning that they expect to make about $400 million on just stuff. Just between people coming here, eating and drinking and buying all that gear. So if you wanted to come to the Super Bowl, We're going to break down the cost for you here. I mean, you can guess that the tickets are expensive, but take a look at this really quick because we put a little scenario together for you. If you wanted 4 days in Indy with round-trip airfare plus 4 nights in a hotel, tickets to the game, the NFL fan experience, and a lot of people seriously did this, $6,300, and that's not even counting the meals or those $8 beers at the game, which is going to cost who knows how much.
Has been walking around with that all week long. But speaking of price, tickets are pricey for the event.
Are tough. I heard anywhere from $2,900 to $5,000 to $6,000 for tickets. But I'll tell you what, regardless of the price, a lot of folks are doing whatever they can to get tickets to the game.
It's a long way from the pros, but it's close enough to the Super Bowl stadium that this just might be the only football some fans see.
Nah, it's not the real thing, but hey.
Many hoping to buy tickets have found the games have already started.
What's the problem?
Big things are pretty overpriced.
Rick Francora and his son are in the market to go to the game, and they're hearing
anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000.
$1,000 to $5,000, what the going price is, one ticket.
On the streets of Indy right now, you'll see everything from cheese heads to zip lines overhead. But what you won't see are scalpers. They're allowed to sell tickets here, but only at face value. That's why you'll only see tickets online. Super Bowl tickets at StubHub start at about $2,200, or to put it another way,
The beginning of a college education, what it would be.
You can buy one ticket for $20,000, but hey, bring some friends. A suite is only $450,000.
Yeah, so that's kind of an issue.
If all else fails, of course, there's always divine intervention.
Money, money, money. It's all about money. Money everywhere. But here's the deal. If you have an opportunity, if you can't come by and you can't get tickets, you don't have money for the tickets, at least come to the NFL. Experience the Super Bowl. Yeah. You don't have to get in and watch the game. Just enjoy the experience of it.
Honestly, it's been great to be here, but I love just being at home. You know, the best part about the Super Bowl is being around your friends and bringing a couple of beers, a bag of chips, and it's cheap, you know? But if you can be out here and you got the money, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right, let's get back to the celebrity picks. We talked to Rodney Harrison. He's an NBC analyst. He's on the Football Night in America. He's a former Patriots player. So did he pick the Patriots to win?
Of course I'm rooting for my team. I am a Patriot. I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm a Patriot. I love Belichick. He gave me an opportunity when I got cut, when I got released. Had a lot of success with these guys. I love Brady and all these guys in the locker room. Yes, I am a Patriot. I'm rooting for the Patriot. And under my suit on Sunday, I will have a Patriot jersey on.
Getting into the mind of a champion, Del Rogers talks with two former 49ers about what it takes to win the big game.
Welcome back to the road to the championship. Jimmy Fallon, one of the many celebrities that has been here all week long. He has been having his show live out of Indianapolis ahead of the Super Bowl, and here partaking in one of the big things, the big attractions here, guys, this week. The zip line, which is right through the heart of the NFL experience. It has been an awesome attraction. It's the first time that the NFL has ever had it, and it is absolutely amazing how everyone has flocked to the attraction known as the zip line right in the heart of Super Bowl Village.
The view above the NFL Village is amazing, but it can become breathtaking
3, 2, 1.
when you soar over it. This is the zip line that rips right through the Super Bowl festivities. But to get to this point, you start here with a release form and a bag full of patience.
I've been at her since 9 o'clock this morning. I brought my breakfast, my lunch, a couple of books,
and a lawn chair, and
my rosary.
Some people waited in this line for more than 8 hours.
Do you know each other? Did you come together?
We're related now. We've been there.
Yeah, we're like family.
$10 a ride, the line can handle 100 people an hour. Advanced tickets are sold out. Only those willing to wait get a shot.
This is probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, there's never going to be a freaking zip line in Indianapolis ever again.
It's truly amazing. They did not know how well it was going to turn out. That's why the lines have been so long, and people have been waiting since 5:45 in the morning.
But once the wait is over, you suit up and then start the climb. 145 steps to the top.
I think you're going now. I think you're good.
Once you're there, you strap in and hold on for 800 feet in 30 seconds.
It was upside down, coming down.
Was it worth the wait?
You better believe it.
So guys, when you got up to the top of the platform, there were 3 steps, and they wanted you out in the middle of the third, or the middle step, and sit down, and you go.
I couldn't do it.
Seemed to be scared either. Even little kids were just like, oh, right across the thing.
You know, last night I was watching and I saw someone go down. They got stuck halfway.
Yep. And then they come out and get you.
All the crowd sit there and look at them, and it had to be scary.
Want to thank Sergeant Mike Hennon, who just came back from Iraq. He was the guy wearing our helmet cam. We did it along side by side. Said it was one of the thrills of his life. I said, thank you for your service for coming back from the Middle East.
You know, the Super Bowl is very tough to get to. There's only been 45 of them played so far. 46 takes place tomorrow. So when you get an opportunity to go, you have to learn and make yourself win that thing if you can. You look at guys like Dan Fouts, great quarterback, great numbers in the NFL as a passer for the Chargers, and never has gone. You look at Jim Kelly, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He went 4 times to the Super Bowl, never won. I was very lucky to go 1 time and to win. Some 49ers I caught up with, some former teammates of mine have multiple rings, and I had a chance to talk to them about what they're doing now that the Super Bowl has long gone past them.
For the majority of professional athletes, playing careers do not last very long. In a violent sport such as football, age and injury will eventually take its toll. But for some, their connection to the game never ends.
I've been real fortunate, man, to have been around here since 1980 in some form or fashion.
Linebacker Keena Turner played all of his 11 seasons for the San Francisco 49ers, a career that ended with 4 Super Bowl rings. But even when his playing career was over, KT always found himself connected with the organization. Following a stint as a television broadcaster, he has served the last 4 seasons as the Vice President of Football Operations.
Consists of degree completion, continued education, internships, financial education, and really whatever the players put on the table in terms of needing help with or more information about or guidance on. We look to service the guys and come up with the resources they need.
Guy McIntyre is another 49er who's found himself connected to the team even after he hung up his cleats. McIntyre won 3 Super Bowls himself and was named to 5 Pro Bowls as an offensive lineman.
I'm Director of Alumni Relations, so I get to communicate with the alumni and handle questions about the alumni and get them involved in whatever the 49ers are doing in the community or in the foundation or on the business side.
So basically, old guys like me who used to play want tickets, we come to you and you say no.
No, generally we were pretty good about that.
Super Bowl 46 is in sight, and it's a stage that both men are very familiar with. So it came as no surprise that both of them could identify with their favorite Super Bowl moment.
One of the most memorable ones was when we played Denver in New Orleans, and the game was pretty much over by halftime. And it was also my first trip to the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
So I knew at that time, by halftime, I was going to the Pro Bowl as a Super Bowl champion, and being able to walk into Hawaii a little late just because you had to go back for the parade and everything was quite pleasing.
So Super Bowl 16 for me, and my memorable moment is not from the game, it was kind of leading up to the game. I came down with the chicken pox for the NFC Championship game, broke out about 2 or 3 days before the game, played the game. We fortunately won and went on to Detroit, and so I had horrible memories physically because I had them everywhere, Dale.
Right.
Everywhere, Dale. But you play in that game because you think you'll never get a chance again. So that's my memory from Super Bowl 16. Super Bowl 19 was special because it was just a special year. Super Bowl 23 was kind of good, and Super Bowl 24 wasn't bad either.
Right.
They're all good, right?
Yeah.
What is that moment like when the last play is played, it's done, and the confetti starts falling, and you're just like, oh my gosh,
do you remember it?
Super Bowl. Of course, you've got to remember, right?
It's kind of, believe it or not, it's anticlimactic because on Monday, we knew that if we did exactly what Bill Walsh wanted us to do, follow our playbook to the T, we would win the game. So we expected to win. We expected to win Super Bowl 23. We didn't go in hoping to win it, lucking to win it. We expected to win it. So when it was done, we were happy. but we kind of knew. We kind of knew.
With that said, what was your favorite moment or the most memorable moment you had from your Super Bowl?
My most memorable moment was just walking out in the field. You know, because once I walked out there and saw it was packed, you got to see everybody on the field. I looked up, I saw where my mom and dad was. Then I went into game mode. So everything else was just dialed into the game. So my most memorable moment was just walking out and just feeling it, just feeling all the excitement and feeling electricity out on the field.
Something that the players will be feeling tomorrow, indeed.
I think so. You know, when you look at how important it is tomorrow for these guys, there's so many things that are going through their mind. And at this moment, let's just take a look at what's going on as far as what the players are trying to do. Physically, they are ready. There's nothing else you can do for this game. Physically, you're ready. And they're probably doing some meetings tonight, getting plenty of rest, and then they'll most likely meet in the morning, and then it's time to get things done. Both teams, they'll probably take the field early before kickoff, obviously. They'll go out there and try to determine if they need to put tape around their shoes, if the turf is loose turf or fast turf. I know they've had a chance to walk on it when they had picture day today, but they really didn't have a chance to worry about it. And try not to get excited. Try not to get too excited, because once you do that, you're thrown off your kilter. You want to be nice and relaxed when you come in. Calm, cool, and collected.
Easier said than done.
There you go.
Especially with all the hype that we have seen all week long. Still much more to come on the road to the championship. The jitters, well, that's what the players are going through tonight. We'll have more coverage live from Indianapolis, which is home to Super Bowl 46, when we come back right after this.
Let's walk you through our coverage tomorrow. It all starts at 9 a.m. for the pregame show. That takes you right up to the kickoff at 3:30. After all the football coverage ends, tune into the season premiere of The Voice. After that, we're going to have a special edition of KCRA3 Reports. Our Deirdre Fitzpatrick will be live from London, looking ahead to the Summer Olympics. We're going to talk all about the super gambling that's going on, and we'll be here live still in Indianapolis, giving maybe some feedback on how the game went, made sure everything that went okay. So make sure to join us tonight and tomorrow. We're looking forward to it.
It has been an awesome week. All throughout the show here on the road to the championship, we have been talking about predictions. We've heard from the mayor. We've heard some celebrities. We've heard from the analysts from NBC's. It's time to give our predictions. And Del, I begin with you. You're the player. You're the guy that's been through this before. Who do you like in tomorrow's game?
I like the New England Patriots. I like them by 10, and let me tell you why. I think Tom Brady is the key. I think he's going into his 5th Super Bowl. I love experience. Eli Manning going into his 2nd Super Bowl. I really love experience. That's why I like New England by 10.
I like the hot hand right now. And I think we've seen this story before in 2008. And that's when the New York Giants got hot in the postseason.
They did.
And they ran the table. They ruined the perfect season for the New England Patriots. Eli Manning said he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the upper echelon to start the season. Everybody laughed. He has now proven it. So I think the Giants, in a close game, I think it's going to be a 4th quarter game, it's going to go win it.
They can't go 3 in a row. They beat them in the Super Bowl. The last time they played back in November, the Giants won in New England. I don't think you can go through the to-do factor.
Who's hot right now? All right.
I know the little brother's trying to outshine the big bro by getting 2 Super Bowl rings. I got to say, I'm with you, Del. Patriots, baby. I love Tom Brady.
Sorry, brother.
I think he can do it again. I just feel it. I just feel like they have something to prove, and they have a lot of team history here that they really want to do. They want to impress the owner who lost his wife this year. There's a lot of emotion in that game, and so I just feel like they're going to take it tomorrow.
Some outside intervention working on this deal. Okay.
Divided intervention.
There you go.
Somebody's right up here on the riser. It has been a fantastic and a festive week here in Indianapolis. They have played a perfect host so far leading up to the big game. The big game, of course, is tomorrow right here on KCRA3. It should be a wonderful matchup, of course, between the New England Patriots and the New York Giants. We'll be recapping it all. We'll have more coverage coming up for you tonight on the night team here at 10 and 11, live from Indianapolis. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll have more coverage from after the game as well. Have a great night. For Del and Kelly, I'm Chris. Enjoy your rest of the evening and happy Super Bowl weekend.
Good night, everybody.